morning.
Morning. Right, let's go.
Better to experience the country, working in the country with its people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, very much so. You get more of a sense of how it feels to be really there instead of just a tourist.
Now, we have to now take taxis to
Yeah, it's great.
eat food here in terms of like just every day.
Every day, yeah.
Like eating out somewhere. There's a very nice article that I think I sent to you, but I don't think you read it, called The Case Against Travel,
Oh,
published in the New Yorker.
recently?
It's a year ago already, but I keep on finding it on Facebook. This person makes a case why
See, I think you did tell me about
we
it.
shouldn't travel.
Disaster of tourism.
Oh no, that was another piece.
Yeah.
One is
So
called The
what's
Small
this one
Place.
about?
Let me see if I can find it. Anyway, she says she thinks you should only travel if you actually it was written in 2023. She says you should only travel if we're going to learn something somewhere else, and it has to be something we're going to learn that we're truly interested in. You know, you can't go and learn how to handle an eagle in Saudi Arabia just because it's a fun thing to do.
Yeah,
You
you gotta
do
have a
something that
genuine
you're actually
interest in
going to go and
eagles.
use afterwards, and or if you're going to go to work. But otherwise, you know, look at the strong image of a person in a bubble.
Yeah, it's quite cool.
So she said, what is the most uninformative statement that people are inclined to make? My nominee would be, I love to travel. This tells you very little about a person because nearly everyone likes to travel, and yet people say it because for some reason they pride themselves both on having traveled and on the fact that they look forward to doing so. The opposite team is small but articulate. G.K. Chesterton wrote that travel narrows the mind. Ralph Waldo Emerson called travel a fool's paradise. Socrates and Immanuel Kant, arguably two of the greatest philosophers of all time, voted with their feet, rarely leaving their respective hometowns of Athens and Königsberg. But the greatest hater of travel ever was the Portuguese writer Fernando Pessoa, whose wonderful book of Disquiet crackles with outrage. I abhor new ways of life and unfamiliar places. The idea of traveling nauseates me. Oh, let those who don't exist travel. Travel is for those who cannot feel. Only extreme poverty of the imagination justifies having to move around to feel.
Wow.
If you are inclined to dismiss this as contrarian posturing, try shifting the object of your thought avoid touristy activities. Tourism is what we call traveling when other people are doing it. And although people like to talk about their travels, few of us like to listen to them. Such talk resembles academic writing and reports of dreams, forms of communication, driven more by the needs of the producer than the consumer. One common argument for travel is that it lifts us into an enlightened state, educating us about the world and connecting us to its denizens. Even Samuel Johnson, a skeptic, "What I gained by being in France was learning to be better satisfied with my own country," he once said, conceded that travel had a certain cachet. Advising his beloved Boswell, Johnson recommended a trip to China for the sake of Boswell's children. There would be a luster reflected upon them. They would be at all times regarded as the children of a man who had gone to view the wall of China. Travel gets branded as an achievement. See interesting places, have interesting experiences, become interesting people. Is that what it really is? Pessoa, Emerson, and Chesterton believed that travel, far from putting us in touch with humanity, divorced us from it. Travel turns us into the worst version of ourselves while convincing us that we're at our best. Call this the traveler's delusion. To explore it, let's start with what we mean by travel. Socrates went abroad when he was called to fight in the battle of war. Even so, he was not a traveler. Emerson is explicit about steering his critique away from the person who travels memories, their necessities or duties to hold. He has no objection to traversing great distances for the purpose of art, of study, and of benevolence. One sign that you have a reason to be somewhere is that you have nothing to prove, and therefore No, we on our way already. We're in a taxi already.
Oh, okay, then
So it's just you and
okay.
Satish. Yeah, it's just you and Satish.
Double check. Okay. Yeah, see you.
Thanks, Josephine. See you later. Bye. Anyway, good evening. That's just a
Such,
story.
would you forward that article?
Socrates said that philosophy is a preparation for death. For everyone else, there is travel.
Huh.
If you don't want to prepare for death. Yes. Yeah, it's a good one. And I've thought about it a lot, you know. This
Yeah.
thing of,
Sure. Very interesting. Brilliant article. What for your exhibition?
My exhibition is called This Earth, This Water. Then I have these pieces that I've just made on board.
Oh, yes.
And then I have the pieces on paper that I made that you saw. And I'm going to try and do the job of the pieces. And they're all about the stream. So I need to come up with a title for this series and for the pieces on paper series. The pieces on paper are not personal questions, they are less intimate questions. They are questions about the stream and the farm and the frogs and the butterflies and so on.
So these are quite personal.
And then the other ones are all very intimate questions. They like, do you remember me? Why did you call me here? Have you always been a part of me? So they're more personal questions.
You could almost use that last title as the title for the whole series. This is what a poet does. They pull a theme from. That's what I would do.
Here's my titles. What do you remember that I have forgotten? Have you lived within me all this time? Why did you call me here? Like that one. Have I always been a part of you? Show me our beginning. How does your spirit manifest in me? Have I always been a part of you? Have you always been a part of me?
That's the part one I like. But I mean, that second one also.
But why did you call me here?
I like that last one because
Because it's within my genre.
it's within your genre and it's a little bit more obtuse than mine.
And can I say, so it's have I always been a part of you?
Have you always been a part of
I
me?
prefer the other way around.
Yeah, well, either way around. Yeah, I've always been a part of you. It's more of a Morning.
Keep go up.
Yeah, you can turn here.
Just turn
Just
right
here.
here.
Yes, good. Thank you.
Oh, bye-bye.
That's great. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.